Hello, my name is Gabrielle Curry, and I'm a student at the University of South Florida in Tampa, studying technical writing. When I got to college, I learned very quickly that writing was for me, though my love of English really started in the more formative years of high school education. As a high school student, I was always eager to have in depth conversations with my friends about all sorts of crazy topics and off the wall ideas. And I was thrilled when I was able to take my first debate class and put my discourse skills to the test. My teacher, Miss Rich, was one of my friend's mothers and a very spunky and fun woman that I had known for quite some time. She had a friendly demeanor and a limp from a car accident that injured her a year earlier. Everyone loved Miss Rich right from the start because she made the class so exciting. She assigned the class silly debates at first, like what flavor Skittle is the best, or how long a chocolate chip cookie should stay in the oven. These trivial assignments didn't take up very much time or require very much thought, but they allowed her students to form the necessary constructs in their minds for contentious thinking that would be necessary when facilitating the hard-pressing issues that were to come up in later debates in the semester. Miss Rich began assigning very serious topics like politics and environmental policy almost immediately after our introductory unit. She explained to us that a resolution was the name for a question that was being debated and presented us with one resolution a week to work on. For each resolution, she said there would be one team who took the negative side, arguing against the resolution, and one team that took the affirmative, agreeing with the resolution. To defend our position, each team was required to come up with 3 contentions or reasons why we were right. These contentions needed to be solid pieces of evidence that were irrefutable in truth and garnered from trusted sources. We were required to document our research process thoroughly. Many students were not familiar with this level of research, and so after some false starts, we were introduced to the logical fallacy. When learning about logical fallacies, it is difficult to learn about them all at once. And there are so many logical fallacies that deserve attention because they are abundantly found across all manner of reporting, statistics, and advertising, in reckless numbers and in all professions. These supposed facts are often little more than conjecture with catchy wording, used to convey a feeling without any truth in their meaning. But it's not just in the professional, commercial, and educational arenas that we come across fallacies most often. Today, we need look no further than our Facebook newsfeed to find a whole array of misleading information and misquotes from well-meaning relatives and fear-mongers alike. Many of us can recognize these practices when we see them in context, but still many more can't and spread this information like wildfire to anyone who will listen, with little regard as to its source or context. Whole websites have been populated just to refute these bogus claims, like PolitiFact.com, where you can find out the relative truth-to-lie ratio of any given politician or political issue with the click of a button. But relying on websites like PolitiFact is not a catch-all, and it is important to recognize these flagrant displays of dissociation when you come across them in their natural habitat, everywhere. I'm going to address several of the most common logical fallacies found on timelines everywhere, and teach you how you can recognize them so the next time you volunteer your personal position for scrutiny, you know it is rooted firmly in the cold hard facts. To understand logical fallacies, we must understand the simplest constructs of reasoning and arguments. Logicians study the premises of an argument and then assert claims called conclusions. The premise is the information the argument is built upon. In everyday life, there is no distinguishing between these two parts of the argument, and instead it is all perceived as noise by many. There are 2 types of reasoning available to rhetoricians to communicate their messages: cogent or good reasoning, and fallacious or bad reasoning. Cogent reasoning requires these 3 conditions. The premise of our reasoning are believable given what we know or believe. We consider all likely relevant information. Our reasoning is valid, which means our premises are good grounds for accepting the conclusion we draw. When these conditions fail, a fallacy exists. There are 15 or so major fallacies given by the standard treatment of current and traditional logic text, depending on how you divide them up. The ad popular fallacy is the appeal to popular feelings rather than the logic in an argument. This argument is used all over Facebook all the time. Many people's feelings are misguided, however, and not in tune with their actual belief system. It would be great if we could rely on feelings for argument, but we just can't. Ad miscordium appeals to pity in an inappropriate way. It is used as a way to distract the reader and get them to focus on irrelevant personal stories rather than the debate at hand. Ad baculum makes a threat of force or response to one. You may be surprised that these are found in arguments on Facebook, but that is where some of the nastiest fights I have seen have taken place. Ad hominem fallacies attack the personal character of the opposing arguer rather than their point. Facebookers love to do this, assume they know the motivations of others, or just know the right buttons to push. Often the arguer may say negative things about the opposition's character simply as a means to distract them from the actual argument at hand. Ad virtutum calls for an appeal to authority, which can be quite legitimate, but they can also fail because experts are not always experts on every subject they are interviewed about. Rather than admit ignorance, many experts fill in their own blanks and can provide illogical conclusions to a given premise. A slippery slope argument occurs when a premise is based on a piece of information that is not yet proven, causing the conclusions drawn from that premise to fall apart with a baseless foundation. Slippery slopes are built every day as people assume too much and make mistakes. Knowing some of these common fallacies can help you stand your ground when things get heated on Facebook, which will allow you to keep a cool head and do well in a friendly debate. Don't expect others to change their logic from this information, however, as many people have no regard for whether the information they spread is the truth or not. They simply don't care what reality is when there is so much fairness in the world. Thank you and have a wonderful day.